Myelin video. Everyone wants us to watch this video from Myelin, and I'm curious too to see where Myelin sits on this.
Welcome back, Guardians. I'm full of emotion. This is the final week for the Veil Containment lore, and it's a bit disappointing. And that disappointment has then been stamped out a little bit by Joe's, the game director for Destiny's, tweet and video about state of the game and addressing a lot of things that the community might want. I'm not too sure if I'm going to make a video about it, but just to let you know, it's been a bit of an exciting morning. But what you're probably interested is hearing what happened in Veil Containment this week, and if there's any juicy lore. Spoiler, not really. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to give you a couple theories about what's going on with Veil Containment. I'm going to do some criticisms of the Veil Containment.
Oh my God, High Cross. It's like they know I'm going to come in here and watch this.
Structure overall. And if I've got the time and the energy, I'm going to give you 14 weeks of lore summarized. So if you haven't watched all the Veil Containment, this is going to be the video for you as well, hopefully. Okay, so this is this week's Veil Containment lore.
Years ago, back on Venus, the Vex simulated copies of us, Maya and I, trapped in a virtual hell. After so long, even hell can look like heaven, can't it? I'm tired. I'm done.
Oh my God, I just got to stop it right now. Hold on. We're going to get to the point in this. Listen, I'm not a voice actor. You ever been around someone that was extremely depressing? You know what I mean? And like the first couple conversations, you were like, okay, that's all right. Like you ever been around someone like every time they came home from work, just the most negative, like just like the worst fucking thing always happened. In reality, when you would listen to it, you're like, that didn't sound that bad. But it was just like, life was just always terrible. This is Kioma to me. I'm just saying, this is Kioma to me.
Maya has to be out there. The Maya I remember. And all I want is one more moment with her. To hold her in my arms. Tell her that I love her. So she can tell me to hush one more time. If we learned anything from the Veil, it's that eventually we all have to learn to let go. So, I made contact with the Vex. I'm ready. And it's time to say goodbye.
In the end, Maya Sandaresh was consumed by her desire to understand and her inability to let go. She and Chioma lost everything in pursuit of knowledge. Chioma abandoned it all, sought to wipe the slate clean for future generations.
What did we learn from all of this?
That the Veil is darkness, the power of consciousness made manifest, as much as the Traveler is the light, the power of the physical world. The implications are great, but so too are the risks. As a younger man, I may have fallen into the same trap Maya did.
Okay, I'm gonna stop with Cyrus right there. Cyrus, you're full of shit. You literally fell into this like last year, okay? Can we Cyrus is like, as a younger man, when are you referring to? You did not have this aha moment, of which, by the way, you did not organically gain on your own. It took Sabathic going inside of you and operating you like a puppet for a solid year before you suddenly had this aha moment. Oh, but you also had to lose the light. You didn't suddenly just reach this revelation all on your own and saying, as a young man, what? As a young man, brother.
But now I know better. We must proceed with caution, lest the river sweeps us away.
Right, so at first I was very disappointed with this. I was like, this doesn't answer any questions. But the more I think about it, the more I think this is wrapping, well, okay, there's a couple ways to think about this. One is, Maya Sundaresh is kind of being set up as a Vex villain. And I think all these Veil Containments kind of lead in that direction. That's one interpretation. Because her Vex copies are out there, the Lakshmi 2 copies out there, so that kind of works. And we know that Bungie kind of has a problem with telling Vex stories because they're just robots, evil robots, and they're difficult to have interesting characters with, and they're often just used by other characters in Destiny. So Maya would, I think, be a fantastic Vex villain. The interpretation I also have for this week is that Chioma Essie was reaching back out to find the version of Maya that she fell in love with, which would have been M-Sun 12, because the previous week it said M-Sun 12 was in the data, right? And obviously this week it mentioned that they realized she was talking about her previous experiences with the Vex simulations. So she may have realized, oh, you know, there is still a virtual copy of Maya Sundaresh out there before she was corrupted by the Veil in the Vex network. So then she reached out to the Vex in hope to talk with M-Sun 12, the Maya she fell in love with, and to say goodbye. So that's kind of almost closing this chapter of Maya Sundaresh and Chioma Essie. But part of me also thinks Maya could make a really good Vex villain.
Okay.
Right. So, did the narrative experiment work? Remember, this was a narrative experiment. They talked about this in the media roundtable. Actually, I'll read this for you. They said, Brooks points to the Veil Containment as a key for shattering reservoir, which continues the examination of the cosmic thingamajig called the Veil, and quietly hints at a lot of stuff to come for season and expansions. Maya Sundaresh is a Vex villain, calling it now. He says this trail of breadcrumbs is the way we're experimenting with a new narrative delivery system to tell different kinds of stories to shake things up a little bit from what people have been expecting. I would say that the experiment was a failure. I really think that the breadcrumb and the drip-fed trail does not give this story justice, because I actually think this story is pretty good, and I actually think this story should have been a Livefall. Just to hit a couple of topics, it gave explanation for the creation of Neomuna. It gave explanation for how the Vex hit it. It talked about the Vex trying to get paracausal powers from the Veil. Yeah. It talks about extracting psychic data from the Veil. It linked Future War Cult, the device, Maya Sundaresh, Lakshmi 2 reveal.
Look, what Myelin is saying right now is that this stuff was these were huge pieces of knowledge dropping. So it wasn't like these weren't big, huge turning points and in enriching the narrative here or answering questions that we've had, right? I think Myelin's going to go on and say it's just the way in which it was presented to us.
Like, this story is actually pretty good. And I don't think it worked out. It got chopped up into lots of pieces and delivered over 14 weeks. And if you actually go back and watch it every week, back to back, it's actually super interesting. So I don't think this was a great way to deliver the content. I think the story is actually not bad there in regards to Chioma Essie and Maya Sundaresh. However, the way it's delivered, I don't think it's particularly good. And I don't really think it's an experiment. We are kind of used to this kind of narrative drive from the way seasons are delivered, because the seasons are delivered every week as well. So I don't think this is anything crazy. I think what would have been an experiment is putting it into one really good story mission. That kind of would have been an experiment for Bungie. I think it was also not received well because a lot of people didn't even know about it. I can't remember when it happened, maybe week 5, week 6. I think I made a video and I actually showed where it was on the map, and all these people responded with, huh? I didn't even know this existed. What is this doing? Like, I didn't realize this was a thing I should be doing. So it wasn't front and center, and I think that's a shame that people missed out in the story. And the other comment and criticism I have for the Veil Containment lore is I was kind of expecting it to be really filling in some of the gaps for Lightfall about the Veil, and it didn't really do that. It confirmed what we already knew about the Veil, which was it was a reservoir for the collective consciousness of the universe, and it didn't add anything more than that. It told us about Savathun hiding it on Neomuna, which we already knew, and then the story was really about Chioma Essie and Maya Sundaresh, which I actually think is a good bloody story. So I don't think it delivered. If their goal was to contain interest, like expand upon the Veil lore, I don't think it achieved that goal either. I also think it fell flat when it comes to their comments on seasons being very cohesive and connected. They made a big point of this in the sort of media roundtable that each season was going to be connected to each other, and it was going to be more connected than any previous season and really build up to this finale for the final shape. And this kind of once again left on a bit of a flat note. Like it didn't really explain M-Sun 12, although we can theorize about it. It just kind of left it up in the air again. And I think if the experiment was to show how all these seasons are connected together and to feed into this bigger overarching narrative leading up to final shape, it didn't quite deliver on that either. So those are my criticisms of the Veil Containment lore. Now, if you've missed 14 weeks, I'm going to give you the shortest version summary.
Let's go.
Of 14 weeks of Veil Containment lore. Okay? So week 1 is we hear that basically Chioma Essie and Maya Sundaresh are heading to Neomuna. This is just post the collapse. We actually have a bunch of lore on this already that I've made previous videos on. They escape on Exodus Indigo. They head to Neomuna following the signal, a Vex signal, which is by Soteria. Right, week 1 reinforces that that's what's happened. It also introduces the idea that Maya Sundaresh predicted the collapse in the future, and she did this through the Future War Cult device, which she previously developed, right? The Ishtar Collective then developed a Vex algorithm to protect the data. Now, this could be a callback to the very final week, because we know Chioma Essie contacts the Vex, and maybe she used that to also encrypt her data as well. Okay, so when you watch it in its entirety, week 1 might actually link back to week 12. Week 2, they introduced the Veil, and they reinforced that Savathun planted it there on Neomuna, and even said the idea that maybe she planted it for Ishtar Collective, which kind of feeds into my theory about Maya being like a Vex villain. Like, I don't know. There's lots of things that connect together there with the Veil, Ishtar Collective, the Vex, and Maya Sundaresh. Week 3, they build the enclosure around the Veil to study and research it, and it actually confirms that they have Siva. This is kind of what I was expecting to be in Lightfall, like the creation of Neomuna and how they used Siva, and if they had Siva and how they used it. Week 4, the Vex want to get access to the Veil, but they can't because of its paracausality. They try to insert themselves into history, and they do a little bit of that, but they can't achieve their goals. Week 5, we get a bit of the Exo lore, how Exos are created from Vex Radiolaria and Clarity, and how they're overloaded when they come in too much contact with the Veil, and Maya wants to reverse engineer this to fabricate consciousness. Week 6, they introduces the idea of Nimbus being half Vex, and pretty much establishes or some lore on advanced Siva and Quicksilver for Neomuna. They talk about combining Siva and Vex components and exominds, and my theory is that leads to Quicksilver, which then is what's used to it's early in the morning. It's what's used to modify Cloud Striders. Week 7, they design this orchestra, and this is to extract data from the Veil. This is the whole conductor and the chorus, and how they sort of channel information out of the Veil, which then becomes important in week 8. The whole research team is killed trying to do this experiment, sort of extracting psychic data from the Veil. And Maya Sundaresh is like, oh, this is valuable data points, so kind of worth it.
Nice.
And they mention that this is similar to what happened to the Witness. All these like researchers being combined into one.
Ah, okay. So the Witness in that civilization did it on a much bigger scale.
Week 9 introduces the idea that Lakshmi 2 is a projection of Maya Sundaresh, like a copy of Maya Sundaresh that she basically imprinted using this technology from the Veil. She imprinted herself onto Lakshmi 2, making an incomplete copy. Week 10, they are successful in connecting people to the Veil. We don't really know what that means and what that involves, but they just say that they're successful in connecting people to the Veil. They confirm the Veil is a web of consciousness, and that the Vex want the Veil so they can run paracausal simulations, which matches our previous law on the Vex, that they can't simulate the light in the dark, and if they could, they would just instantly win against Guardians, and that's why Guardians cause so much troubles for the Vex. Week 11, Maya dies. She's found dead in the conductor chair. Nobody knows what she's doing. Dum dum dum. This is where I keep coming back to the Maya is going to be a Vex villain of some sort. And confirms that the Lakshmi copy is still incomplete and keeps freaking out Sherma Essie. Week 12, Rasputin discover them, and this is when the Nefeli Stronghold storyline comes in. So Sherma Essie sends Stargazer, a Cloud Strider, back to Earth to delete all the records of Neomuna. She takes Lakshmi 2 with them. That's how Lakshmi 2 gets from Neomuna onto Earth. I think I forgot to mention previously
Does anybody know what happened to that Cloud Strider? Did they make it back?
At one point, they also mention how, week 4, the Vex is the reason Neomuna remained hidden. The Vex made like a simulation to hide Neomuna because they wanted it for themselves, because they wanted to get access to the Veil. Week 13, they closed down the facility, and we hear that M-Sun 12 is crawling in the network. And then week 14 is what we just had today, which is, I think, some closure for Sherma Essie to try to reach out to the virtual copy of M-Sun 12 and reconnect with Maya before she was corrupted by the Veil. That is 14 weeks of Veil.
Excellent job, Myelin.
Thank you for joining. If you'd like to support the channel, cannot think of a comment,
please, fellas, please go drop some love on Myelin's video. We'll link that in our cut up of this. Listen, guys, let me ask y'all this. Who was it that killed Lakshmi? Vex, right? Wasn't it the Vex? We heard digital sounds when she died. Let me ask you this. What if M-Sun 12 was the one who sent the Vex assassination? Just think about it, chat. Just think about it. That would be madness. What were Lakshmi's last words? I think it was something like, ah! Something like that. Could Lakshmi have faked her death? Listen, this isn't Epstein, all right? No, she was dead. We matched her records. She was a copy? I don't know. I mean, I think. All right, hold on. This is the final speech from Lakshmi.
People of the last city, we have endured many great tragedies thanks to our strength and a steadfast commitment to humanity.
Is this it? Is this when she dies?
The Vanguard will not.
Okay, hold on.
Use it to do what the Vanguard will not. I will tear open a rift, banish the fallen to the depths of space from where they came. We alone will save humanity. I have seen the darkest of futures, and with this act, I will. No. No.
I told you that was her last words. All right, that was obviously Vex in the background. Okay, so she was planning on banishing the fallen. She seemed, Lakshmi's mindset seemed too linear to be Maya. I wonder what her obsession was there. You know what I mean? But the question that you should be asking yourselves, was Lakshmi right? Think about it. Was she actually right? Not one bit. She was kind of super racist. I don't know, guys. Let's just say this. If dudes with 4 arms showed up on planet Earth, are we just going to be like, you know, hey, move in? And then secondly, these are not just some 4-armed dudes randomly showing up. with peace offering. They had been fighting Fallen for years. Multiple Guardians have been killed by Fallen, and multiple Fallen have been killed by Guardians. And on top of that, she can see into the future. Something revealed itself, the point where she felt this was necessary. I don't know if she was really evil, Chad. I don't know if she was really evil. She had a vision. She obviously took whatever bait it was and then tried to eradicate the Fallen. My question is, perhaps baited. But the real question is why did the Vex kill her? Why? And knowing what you know now, Imsun 12 in the Vex network, Maya could be, as Myelin just put it, Maya could literally be a Vex boss in the future, and Lakshmi is supposed to be the exo copy of Maya. Ask yourself, why did the Vex kill her? Whose orders was it? They're gonna use her mind, and they got, well, that's the other thing. Was there anything taken from Lakshmi's body at all? Was there anything taken? That's the questions I have. Was there anything taken from Lakshmi's body? Did these Vex do anything to her brain or something like that? Would there have been any type of value or anything possibly hidden that Maya had placed in advance? I don't think the community would be down for Lakshmi redemption arc. I think in some capacity, she's going to be back. She won't be back as Lakshmi. She may be back as Maya. The point is, I leave you with this. Why was Lakshmi killed? Why did the Vex kill Lakshmi? Was it in fact, this is my theory, was it in fact Maya from within the Vex network that put out the hit on Lakshmi? So I'm gonna leave it at that. Life has made a video on this, on what Maya sending the assassination to kill Lakshmi.
Wellsprings and rivers are...
Tell me what I can do for you, Guardian. The future slips by like a river.
Well, how about that? A little bit like the whole River of Souls story that Nimbus told us. And maybe it's the case that with everything going on, maybe the device is a source of these things. Maybe you can see those rivers and well springs. Not totally sure. Next up, let's listen to this.
A long time ago, I looked into the flames of war and saw a branching future. There would be war, always. But what we chose to do, that choice mattered. We could cultivate beautiful futures, or hideous ones.
Interesting. I wonder if that long time ago was during the collapse, and not at the time of the Dark Age. Then there's this entry.
1,000,000 timelines woven into each other, some spiraling, some tangling, and the needle of future war court pierces them all.
I love the language used here, and I thought it was worth pointing out simply because it's very Strand-esque. Maybe it's unrelated, but we'll see, I guess.
Dude, does nobody just speak normally? Huh? We're all walking around just saying vague shit, dropping parables. Do we gotta be in the club or something to actually get normal dialogue? Everybody's so fucking cryptic, and then they die. That's the problem. It's like, you've been fucking cryptic for 6 years, and then you die.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.